Hey, kumusta po kayo? How are you? And thanks for tuning in to another edition of Paul Presents Art. I'm Paul, and I'll be your guide today. So I'm just standing outside of the Dominion building here in downtown Vancouver, which is of course built on the ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, and we're going to go to the third floor, over to the Unit 17 Contemporary Art Gallery to see the show of Montreal-based artist Marlon Kroll, who is also exhibiting a suite of drawings on muslin and some sculptures. So let's just go in, and I hope you can join me. Okay, so we're just in front of the gallery right now. I'm just gonna go inside and have a look at the show. And first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna pan through the two rooms. There's a piece over here, which we'll discuss a little bit later. I have my notes with me, so hopefully that will help. I hope I remember everything I want to say because I've made some notes, some research things as well. And okay, let's just go like that. We're gonna go in the other room right now, and then I'm gonna tell you about Marlon. Actually, I almost missed this piece over here. And there's this piece right in front of the door, which you have to kind of traverse through. And there's also that piece over there, which I totally forgot about when I was actually ruminating on the works in the show. But what we're going to do, I'm just going to go and read something about Marlon, okay? And here we go. Marlon Kroll was born in Hamburg, Germany. He is a Montreal-based artist interested in perception, infinity, and the supernatural. The child of a psychic and a musician, his work articulates questions around embodiment, the nature of reality, and the construction of truth. So I think the first thing I wanted to touch upon, let's just go to the other room first, is that as his mother is a psychic, his father is a musician, and these two aspects of his life are actually quite well represented in this exhibition. The exhibition is called Cold Open, and I'm going to read a little bit of his press release, which he wrote himself, and kind of like explains what Cold Open sort of means to him. So here goes. As a matter of fact, you enter the story after it's already begun. But hasn't every story started before we've locked on? So it's almost like this sense of walking into a situation, knowing that there is a past, knowing that there is a future, and kind of like dealing with the present at this moment. But I also wanted to sort of touch upon the aspect of the psychic and the musician. Because when I look at these works, especially the works that are in the other room, like for example, this work, for example, over here, is actually titled Libra. That is entitled Libra. And there's another one here, it's titled Libra as well. And all the works are actually dated in 2024. And these works that I'm showing you right now are colored pencil and acrylic on muslin over panel. There are also some construction works over here, which are actually pine, manila paper, and rabbit glue mostly. And these are kind of like the constructions that he does as well as his drawings. He calls his works on panel drawings. And because the panel drawings are actually colored pencil and acrylic. And when you're looking at, let's say, this particular piece, for example, there's this sense of sort of like an affinity with a Swedish artist from the 19th century. Her name is Hilma af Klint. And it's interesting to note that Hilma af Klint is at some point considered a mediumistic artist. And I'm going to tell you what that means. Just going to focus on this one. So a mediumistic artist is an artist who kind of deals with spiritualist art or spirit art, mainly painting and influenced by spiritualism and includes psychic painting. And Hilma was a Swedish artist who lived, I think, around the end of the 19th century to the first half of the 20th century. And it was around 1896 that she started painting. And she would actually sort of go on seances, and she would sort of like use her, sort of like perhaps she believed in having a psychic ability, and trying to sort of like create works based on that. She is actually considered one of the first modernist artists that's ever been recorded. And the thing about it is that there was a stipulation in her will that said that after she dies, don't reveal these paintings to anybody until after 20 years after her death. So I'm going to go and put a little bit of biography about Hilma in the bottom of the screen if you haven't already seen it. But a lot of these works that I'm seeing here have this sort of like an affinity or perhaps a lineage going back to Hilma. And I also can't sort of take away the fact that there's a certain sort of like musicality about these works. And I'm going to go focus on this architecture piece that he has in the room. And we're going to focus on a trumpet up there, which apparently belongs to his father. And a little book notation over here, as well as another piece on the wall that refers to Schumann. Because the thing about it is that when you look at the works in this show, there's a certain sort of lyrical composition. Like, for example, when we look at this one, the circular patterns tend to sort of like, they look like ripples or waves in a pond. And you know, like when you're sort of dealing with music and sound is composed of waves as well. So there's these signs and there's these sort of like undulations. And it's interesting, the entire, like when you're looking at the color of these pieces, there's a certain depth that he achieved, considering that these are actually colored pencil mostly and some acrylic. And we're going to go over to the other piece here, which is called Air Conditioner, which also tends to sort of like have this musicality about it, because when you're looking at it, there's like these vents, I guess, that tend to sort of like direct the flow of air, which tends to sort of like deal with the waves that I've been sort of like commenting on earlier. And when you look at the piece that is kind of like interrupting your sort of like a movement through the space, that big piece over there with a trumpet, it's almost this sense of trying to sort of like control your movement through the space. Because, you know, architecture is inherently a mechanism for control. You know, you can't go through, let's say, a wall. But the thing about music is that it's one of those things that tends to penetrate walls, right? It's one of those things that kind of like reverberates through the walls of, let's say, a concert hall or a room. It reverberates and even sort of like penetrates certain aspects of a room or a structure. And then we're just going to go to the piece right over here, which is kind of enigmatic to me, because the thing about it is that it's quite mesmerizing. You know, there's an egg on the top. That's a hard-boiled egg, I would think, or maybe it's just a plain egg. And then there's a fan that's rotating, which tends to make me remember the art of Ryan Gander when he installed a ceiling fan that's so big that nobody can enter the room. But I'm going to be silent for about 10 seconds, okay? And I want you to observe something. You hear that droning sound? It's almost like a metronome. And I think because of the essence of musicality with this entire show, I tend to sort of like think of that as more like a meditative way of actually trying to sort of go through all of the works and try to sort of like connect, let's say, an aspect of spiritualism or spiritual art or mediumistic art with the musicology of the entire exhibition. So I'm going to end it on that. It's not a very long video. And I hope you enjoyed that tour of Marlon Kroll's show here at Unit 17 Contemporary Art. If you did, you can subscribe to the channel, you can like this video, you can share it on your social media channels, and I hope you enjoyed that tour. Thank you so much for your engagement. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. You have a great day, and I hope art informs your life. Bye!